I'm a relayer from Henry County. I am a three-time survivor, and I've found that in my journey through cancer, a lot of things seem to have happened with me in a series of threes. Having cancer 3 times, people in my family, and something else that I kind of realized that was going on, and I really didn't even realize it. Relay for Life has 3 words that you see on everything. Celebrate. I've had a chance to celebrate being cancer-free 3 different times. I've had a chance to remember having a mother and a father that was diagnosed with cancer. I lost both of them last year within a 10-month period of time. After I was declared free for the last time, my father lost his battle of 10 years with prostate cancer. 2 months later, we find out that Mom has inoperable lung cancer. So I've had a little dealing with it, but we've got celebrate, remember, and what's that third thing?
Fight.
What is it?
Fight.
What? Look at there.
Fight back.
The thing about fighting back, when I was a kid growing up, when I got in a fight with my brothers, it was never because you weren't happy about it. You had to get mad. And when you get mad, when you start to fight back, you really do have to get mad about things. And it took me a while to really get mad and start fighting back. But we have to go back 24 years when this first started with me. I was 28-year-old, young in business, had a lot of things going on that were going pretty good, and go to the doctor because I had a runny nose. This is how it starts. One day you're perfectly fine, you're healthy, you got a runny nose. The next day it's not so good. But I go to the doctor because I have a sore throat. I had lost my voice. I could not talk anymore. It had nothing to do with cancer. I had allergies. That's all it was, stupid allergies. So I go into the doctor's office, and he's kind of giving me an examination. He says, how long you had that lump in your neck? And I said, what you talking about, Willis? What lump? And there's a lump in my neck. It was a golf ball size, and I had no idea that it was even there. So one day you're okay, and the next day you're a cancer victim. That's how fast it goes. This trek through cancer at 28 years old, I said, okay, what do we do? To me, it really wasn't that big of a deal. That may sound kind of silly, but to me it was an inconvenience. That's okay, what do we do? Let's get on with this. So they send me to Memphis. We go to Memphis, I go in to see a doctor, and this is where something starts happening with me that is kind of played through this, is the term luck and cancer. You wouldn't think that they would go together. I guess it depends on your glass. Is it half full, half empty? First thing the doctor says when I go in is, well, you're lucky to have cancer today. After I restrained myself from wanting to choke him, I had to ask, what are you talking about? I had Hodgkin's disease. Well, Hodgkin's, in 1988, the cure rate was 90%. He said if you would have had this 10 years earlier, the cure rate was only 10%. And so I was lucky to have it in 1988 instead of 1978. The video we seen earlier, Coach Counts of Henry County, his wife had Hodgkin's, had it in 1974. She didn't make it. And so strides have been made, big strides in some forms of cancer. Other forms they're still fighting on. I was lucky enough to have a particular kind that they've done well on. Now these strides didn't just happen by themselves. There was extremely smart doctors, extremely smart scientists somewhere in a little room somewhere that we used to pick on as kids, that now they're my heroes. Because they're the guys and the women who are figuring out how to beat these things. And they got a lot of their funding from the American Cancer Society. So everything that you do out here, I want to thank you for all the little things that you do, the cupcakes that you bake. A 50-cent cupcake that you make, you might think this is no big deal. But if you sell $100 worth of them today, that might be the next $100 that gets some grant over the edge to get somebody to learn how to cure lung cancer. Maybe my mom would still be with us for a little while if they had figured that out. But it hasn't happened yet. So all the things that you do, keep trudging on, keep doing them, because it does make a difference. So when you're dealing with cancer, a couple things happen to you here. Another thing is that it's not just the individual that has cancer. The whole family has cancer. And everybody has seen that. I mean, one of the hardest things I ever had to do was tell my mother that I had cancer and tell my wife that I had cancer. We had just been married, 8 years, not too terrible long. And as of today, my wife of 31 years, 361 days. If you do the math on that, our anniversary is in 4 days. She has been there to take care of me the whole way through all this stuff. All the hours, that I spent at the toilet, getting sick, driving me back and forth to the doctor when I was too weak to drive, having to open the door and throw my head out and get sick, and going and getting the medicines and all these things. It takes a bunch of people. So the family is a good support group, but there is more to it than just the cancer patient. So in Memphis, I go through about 6 months worth of treatment, pushing on 8, 9 months maybe. I really don't remember. That's one thing chemo does, is zaps your brain cells. She says I'm just getting too old, but I blame it on the chemo. But after a certain amount of time, they say, okay, you're good to go. We think we've beaten this thing. And so come back and see us once a month. We'll keep an eye on you. So about 4 or 5 months out, I go back to the doctor. Sitting on the table, and he squeezes my neck again. Something about doctors and squeezing your neck. They always want to squeeze the neck. He squeezed a spot, and I about jumped off the table. I knew immediately what that was. He didn't have to tell me. He dropped and said, I'll be right back. He leaves the room, comes back in a few minutes later and says, we got problems. And I said, yeah, I know what it is. What do we do this time? And he says, well, we're going to try something different. We have these new drugs we're going to hit you with. They're going to be harder than they were before. They're going to knock your socks off this time. It's going to be tough. But where do you think those new drugs came from? Probably the same geeks that were in the room before making these other things. They're my heroes. They figured out a new drug. So they gave me something new. I went through another, somewhere around 6, 8 months, might have been 9 months. It's all a fog that long ago. They declared me free and clear again. So from that point, we moved back to Paris where we had been living. We get back there, and I got to enjoy 18 years of being free and clear of cancer. So these 18 years go along, and I want to tell you guys that are looking for recruits for your teams and things. For 18 years, I was a survivor in Henry County. I seen the signs all over the place, relay. I thought it was this huge, huge organization. And I often thought, I need to go help them. And I always thought, they don't need my help. They got plenty of people to help them. Last year, I got involved. I wish I would have got involved a lot sooner. But I never did, because I just thought that I wasn't needed. If you can get a hold of the cancer survivors in your area and let them know that they are needed, I promise you I would have jumped in a long time ago. So 18 years plugs by, and I wake up one morning, and here's the neck again. Throw my feet over the edge, and I reach up here, and I feel something behind the neck. And it's another stupid lymph node swollen up. So here we go again. You think that things are getting to be where you can get through normal life and not have to be worrying about cancer. The farther out you get from being in treatment, the less you start to think about it. And so 18 years, you think, shoot, it's behind me. I'm not going to have to be worried with this stuff anymore. But you never know when it's going to slip up and get you again. So this time, I go to a doctor there in Paris. They do a biopsy, send me to Vanderbilt. Once again, I was lucky. Lucky because Vanderbilt is one of the greatest places anybody could ever go for anything. I swear I'd go up there for anything. It's the greatest place in the world as far as I'm concerned. Vanderbilt is also one of the places that gets funding from ACS. So your dollars at work, those 50-cent cupcakes, the pies that you bake, the car washes that you have, all the things that you do, they are all going to good right here in our own area, and they have benefited me. And again, I thank you for everything that you do. I'm a rookie at Relay. This is just my second year. Other people that have been this for years and years and years, I thank you for your dedication in doing what you've done so many years through this stuff. So this time at Vanderbilt, here I'm scared to death because the first time the doctor in Paris tells me that I have cancer again, and he also says this time it's a more aggressive form than what you've had before. It's not Hodgkin's this time. Head and neck cancer. I had a stinking tonsil that was malignant. I mean, who ever heard of a tonsil being malignant? I guess I should have had them out when I was a kid or something. But in the meantime, I had 2 months before I could get to the doctor at Vanderbilt. And I had 2 months to search the internet. Trust me, if you ever get cancer, stay off the internet. There ain't nothing but bad stuff out there. Everything that you read tells you that you're not going to make it. And this person that, the recurrence rate is all this. And that's one of the things I started asking the doctor. When we get to Vanderbilt, I said, this is worse than what I had before. This, from what I see, the cure rate isn't as high, and the reoccurrence rate is higher. He mentioned something about you've been on the internet, haven't you? And so he calmed me down when he says, this is nothing, we got this. There's a guy sitting in the room, the next room over, the next examining room has the same thing that you have. And here I was thinking I was probably the only person in the world that ever had a stinking tonsil get malignant on him. But when you have people that say, this is nothing, it makes you feel better. And these doctors are incredibly smart people. When they can go in and start doing the things that they do and just pick cancer apart, it's a wonderful, wonderful thing. But they still have a whole lot to do. But when I get done with my surgeries and my treatment and whatnot, as I said before, shortly after that, cancer wasn't done with me. The things that happened in threes, I had cancer 3 times. I get it, then my mom, my father gets it, then my mother gets lung cancer. She winds up passing from it, and it just seems like things have happened in threes with me. And it's just one of those things that you don't know what you will do when you are diagnosed with it, but it's just you just have to go on. It's one of those positive attitude things you really have to just keep on doing. But one of the hardest things that I've ever done, it wasn't having the cancer. Like I said, I always had a positive attitude, like, what is it next? Let's go, let's do this. The hardest thing I ever had to do was sit with Mom and Dad and watch them slowly go away. We took care of them in hospice care. And that is, without a doubt, the hardest thing that anybody will ever do is to sit and watch your mother drift away. And so, a couple of things I wish and I hope for all of you. First, I hope you never have to do that. Second is I hope that you keep the desire, keep the fire burning, and keep doing what you do every day, because it does make a difference. $5 at a time, $10 at a time, $10,000 at a time. It does make a huge difference in what you're doing. If you take all the people in this room, all the people in the state, all the people in the nation, you add it all up, $100 that I can raise may not be a big thing, but if we take it all together and throw it in, maybe one of those guys will finally figure out how to cure lung cancer, or one of these things that they just can't get a handle on yet. So the biggest thing is just don't quit. Keep making them cupcakes. Keep selling pies. Keep going on. And so let's do this. Let's celebrate. Let's remember. And what's that third thing?
Fight back!
What was it?
Fight back!
All right. Thank you very much. My name